My guest tonight is Sarah Minnich. She's a film and television actress who can currently be seen starring in the new Zack Snyder Netflix film Army of the Dead. Up next, Sarah can be seen in the upcoming Netflix film Intrusion. The film follows a woman who moves to a small town with her husband but is rattled when she's targeted for a home invasion. The film is slated to release in fall of 2021. From silver screen to television, music videos, Sarah has built herself a multifaceted career in entertainment. She's best known as Brenda from AMC's hit series Better Call Saul and her lead role in the Lifetime TV movie Dying for a Baby. Additional film credits include Running with the Devil, Sicario, Shock Collar, The Ridiculous Six. TV credits include Briarpatch, Preacher, Godless, Midnight Texas. The list goes on and on and on and on. Outside of being an actress, she has achieved her bachelor's degree and master's degree from the University of New Mexico with hopes of one day pursuing a PhD. Please, everybody, give a warm welcome to my guest tonight, Sarah Minnich.
Hey, everybody!
That's you.
Thanks for having me.
That's you.
It's always crazy to hear about my credits because I'm like, oh yeah, I remember now.
I did that thing that one time. That's right. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Of course, yeah. Thanks for having me. I'm thrilled to chat.
I'm salivating. I'm so excited. I am not a person in the entertainment industry, but I am a huge fan. I love the work that goes behind this. The whole reason I created this show was because I wanted to talk to the directors, the producers, the actors, the writers, the stuntmen. We had last week we had the director of the documentary Stuntman. This is the stuff I live for. I'm so fascinated by what you do, and it is an honor to speak with you tonight.
Well, I'll tell you this. Artists like to talk to other passionate people because that is what we are plagued with. Passion.
Fantastic. And as everybody on the show knows, the first question always comes out of the gate. We are a military veteran / active duty themed, whatever you want to call it. But we always like to ask the guests, what is your connection to the military? Did you serve? Did someone you know serve? Family member, friend, anything like that?
All of my grandfathers. Every single one. And I say all of them because I have more than two. So you're like, wow, how did that work? So my grandfather on my mother's side served in the military. He was in the Navy. My grandfather on my father's side was in the Air Force, and he was actually, after the Air Force, a scientist and helped in the development of the Sidewinder rocket, which is something crazy. My dad tells me that, and I'm like, wow. What? Are you sure, Dad? And he's like, yes, I can actually go into great detail about it. I'm like, okay. And then my grandfather on my stepmother's side was also in the Army.
Wow. That is a deep connection. So that is awesome. Hopefully, because I did my research. I looked at your filmography and very impressive. Nothing military related. I was like, oh, maybe, she plays this badass, military person or even, there's the classic, the spouse of a military guy. Cause that's not cliche enough. Like we don't have women that serve, but hopefully one day we get to see it.
I will say this, that's definitely a dream of mine to portray a strong military woman like that. But I will say, I think it's really important to save those roles for those women who have actually experienced it as well. And I think that there are a lot of actresses who have been in the military, and I think we need to give them credence and honor that.
Oh, that's it. What a good answer. Ooh. You're good at this. You're good at this. We're going to get along swimmingly. Okay, so before we dive into some of the work that you've done, I always like to take a few minutes to kind of let's let the audience get to know you and the person behind the characters, behind the camera, so to speak. So I did a little digging, and I read that you grew up loving like epic movies like Braveheart, Dances with Wolves. Was that kind of the stuff that like led you to want to pursue a career in this kind of field?
So it's not a normal 10-year-old that's watching a movie like Braveheart, right? But my father was always really into these sort of battle epics. And for some reason, I just found them to be so intriguing and passionate. And there was grit, and there was all of those really intense human emotions that I think as actors we're reaching for. And although in my early years, I wasn't like, oh, okay, I'm going to go be an actor. I'm going to go do this exactly. I actually wanted to be an obstetrician gynecologist when I was a kid, which is a little different.
Okay.
But I was always in front of the camera. And so sort of that mix of seeing all of these epics growing up with a father who was a performing artist, and then also being in front of the camera for all of my formative years, eventually, once I hit my teens and late teens, I was like, this is what I should be doing. I need to be in front of the camera. I need to be performing. I need to be exploring complex human emotions. What am I thinking? And then I just got there through a series of a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, that's incredible. And so right now, I know obviously you can't see it, but I'm already getting inundated with people in the chats that first of all, because I told you during the break that I showed your demo reel, and a lot of people that are saying like, wow, that was incredible. So you're getting a lot of kudos for your performances and the people you've worked with. But again, before we get into that, you also, because we just touched on kind of those formative years and the high school years, I read that you considered yourself kind of a nerd in high school. Dude. And that you were in the marching band, you were valedictorian. Yeah. Was it you played like the flute and the piccolo? I think it was.
Yes. I was a big nerd for sure. So in high school, I had this. Well, the early years of high school, I had this big gap between my teeth, and so I mean, people used to make fun of me big time. And then I had two parents who were teachers at the high school I went to. And so nobody wanted to be friends with me because they were like, she's a narc. And then also I was in the marching band, and I had the blue uniform and everything. I learned how to do that special walk they do in marching band. And then I had my flute. And of course, this was around the time that American Pie came out. So everybody was making that joke about the flute.
It already came up in the chats, by the way. Before you even said that, it was once in Bandcamp, came right up in the chat. So right on cue. Perfect.
So I was basically tortured by Bandcamp jokes. And I actually did go to Bandcamp. And I can confirm that Bandcamp is scandalous. Okay, it is scandalous. It really is. But so my entire high school career was just people making these terrible Bandcamp jokes and people not wanting to hang out because I had narc parents who were teachers. They're not really narcs.
I wonder if you could have split the difference, right? Because something like American Pie maybe kind of made Bandcamp kids cool for a second. Like maybe if the parents weren't teachers, maybe you would have went with the in crowd there for a minute. I don't know. Do you think?
I don't know. I mean, in my high school, a lot of the band kids the drummers were cool. The drummers were the cool ones, but everybody else was kind of like, okay, whatever. You guys are on a different page. So
that's got to be, we're not dating anybody here, but that's got to be like Drumline. Wasn't that a movie that was super popular for like early some odd years? But yeah, it made drummers popular.
And they have charisma and swagger,
right.
and flute players don't necessarily have swagger. So we try, but not that.
I'm pretty sure every great rock band needs a flute player. I'm just saying that's what's missing from everyone.
Gosh.
Let me ask you, obviously this is something you have a passion for. This is a career for you. Before we actually talk about the actual roles, like what is it? Can you quantify what do you like about acting the most? What draws you to this day in and day out?
Oh my gosh. I love having the creative freedom to work myself into another character, to work myself into another consciousness, really to develop my thoughts so that I'm a different person for that moment. Don't get me wrong. I like coming right back to my reality. I'm not saying like I want to be somebody else, but I love being able to play. I love being able to experience all of these different sort of walks of life in and through acting.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a good point. I mean, the idea, everybody loves Halloween, right? As kids, we loved, playing make believe. So the idea of that, like, oh my God, I can get paid to do that. That sounds awesome. That sounds so cool. So you win with that right away.
Well, there's this moment too that you can like get into in acting, and I call it sort of being in the flow. And it's where you're absolutely connected and present with the other actor. And it's like a high. I mean, I'm not personally a drug user, but at the same time, that right there being in it with another actor, that's a high.
That's the drug. It's the addiction to the craft, the acting craft. Speaking of acting, did you take formal training? Did you kind of just jump in both feet? I mean, what was kind of your entry into the world?
Okay, so my first, I want to say 10 years of acting, I didn't train. And I was like, I don't need to train, which is so stupid. I was so bad in my early years. And, I'm still learning every day. And then finally, over the past, I want to say 4 years or so, I started training. And I started training with Bob Jesser, who's done a lot of training stuff in New Mexico. And then I got into training with Leslie Kahn out of California and met my core acting group. And ever since then, things have really changed up for me in terms of the way that I approach acting.
Awesome. Yeah. And so speaking of your early days, we'll transition here. Nice smooth segue into the acting of it. You cut your teeth on Spring Break Massacre in 2008. I'm curious, with a title like that. I'm curious, what was your expectation kind of going into it, and then how was that different, and what you expected it to be?
Okay, so let me just tell you about that film. So I auditioned for that when I was barely 18 years old. And it was like one of the very first things I'd ever auditioned for. And for some reason, they were like, yeah, we'll take you. You can be a lead in this. And I was like, okay. And so I ended up going to Illinois with all of these people that I was just completely fascinated by, completely ignorant and fascinated. And proceeded to have the time of my life next to this lake in this crazy setup that was like being at band camp. Let me just tell you what, with all of these actors who knew what they were doing. I had no clue what I was doing. I was completely lost. And anyway, and I just did it. And I had the most amazing time. And my expectations were, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to go and do this. And I was really stupid at the time. So I decided that I was madly in love with one of my co-stars who was like, I don't know, 20 years older than me at the time. I mean, I guess he's still 20 years older than me. And he played me like a violin, which was hilarious. I walked out of there 18 years old, just blindsided, doe-eyed, like, I don't know what just happened, and heartbroken, but had the time of my life. Like it was both an amazing experience and an extremely big learning experience for me.
I mean, considering that maybe not the best case scenario, but that's pretty good. Pretty good. You got something out of it, and you learned something. I'm fascinated because as I was looking through your filmography, that you did play. You had a role in Breaking Bad. You played was it Party Girl dancing all up on our guy
Aaron Paul.
Aaron Paul. My God, I totally blanked on the name.
Happens to me too.
We're gonna get along so well. So and you go from, let's just say, random party girl,
sure,
dancing on Aaron Paul, and then here comes many years later the prequel series, Better Call Saul, and you get tapped to play this character Brenda, who has somewhat of a recurring role. What was that process kind of like, going from? Because I'm assuming we're not going to tie those two characters and go like, well, that was Brenda. She really had a falling off towards the end of the series. So what was that like, stepping into basically what is the same universe as a whole different person?
That was awesome. I didn't actually think that I was going to get the role because we thought that it would be a conflict. But then they were like, nah, we'll go with it. And then for a bit there was like this whole discussion of, are they just two separate people and we're really not even connecting them at all? And then there was some, speculation about maybe they are connected and something's going to come out. And I was so hopeful. I think at one point, one of the producers came up to me when I was on set working with Odenkirk and was like, we have our eye on you. And I was like, oh my God. And I went home and I was like, this could be it. This is going to be my big break. It's I mean, the problem is that I don't think they took me further in that series because some people were getting confused between Ray Seahorn and I, which, how could you get confused? Ray Seahorn's Ray Seahorn. Like, she's epic, man. Not that I'm not epic too, but I'm just saying, like, we're not the same person, but we're both blonde and,
yeah.
So
similar enough. similar
Yeah,
enough that us mild-mannered viewers, we get confused very easily.
yeah.
You, you know how
I
it's,
get confused very easily. Let
there
me
you
just
go.
tell you about my everyday.
And really the most, I mean, kind of the big thing, we kind of let off with it that you're in right now. You have an appearance in Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, which, I mean, oh my God, like what a moment for you. And I'm curious, for those that didn't see, that you come in at the end of the movie, almost like an epilogue of what's going on. When you got that part, when you read the script, when you read the scene, did you know you were in like the finale of the movie? Like, do they tell you that kind of stuff? Are you privy to that?
No, it was super under wraps. The script was all NDA'd. And so I just knew what my scene was going to be. And then when I got script, when I got on the set, I was like, oh, this is cool. But then I didn't actually realize how cool it was until I saw it, until it actually came out. And I can't really speak to anything down the line because that's an NDA.
Sure.
But I can say that cool things are coming. And it was a pretty exciting role for me. We'll see what happens, won't we?
Yeah, no, it's a very I want to say it's a shocking moment because as the viewer, I'm watching the movie and we kind of tie up everything with a bow, and then all of a sudden there's this other scene and you and I don't know the other woman's name that plays the other stewardess, but you kind of this pivotal moment and you don't know what's going to happen, and everybody's like, as the viewer, I'm like, I'm on pins and needles, like, oh my God, what's going to happen? And then it kind of just trails off there. So obviously I was maybe going to ask, are we going to see anything else coming out of this? But I know, Zack Snyder.
What you're talking about.
Yeah. So, tell me what it was like, because I can only imagine the way that was shot. It was lengthwise down this corridor of an airplane. I can imagine if it were a side shot, then like, oh, you can have the whole. Everybody knows what a movie set looks like, right? There's a wall and then the cameras. But the way this was shot, like that seemed very claustrophobic. You guys were like in there.
Dude, we were in an actual private jet, and like these things are not massive. I mean, yeah, there's a little, like you could lay down from one side to another, but that's it. And then we've got Zack Snyder in there, and he's running camera, and he's like running camera on his shoulder. And we've got Omari Hardwick, which he's like a big guy, he's not hurting anybody's feelings. And we've got me in there and the wonderful woman behind me. And then we've got sound and we've got scripty, and it's hot in there. Like it was, I don't know. It must've gotten up to 90, and we're just sweating, and makeup's like, peek out so we can fix you, 'cause you're really shiny. 'Cause we're all sweating profusely. And, Zach's just sitting there, and he's just so cool to hang out. He's somebody that you could like sit around the campfire with and just have a beer with, I mean, somebody that's actually cool to talk to, which isn't always the case.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. Yeah, I can't. Where was the plane physically when you guys were shooting that scene?
In a hangar.
In a hangar in which state?
He's in a hangar. New Mexico.
New Mexico. Oh, God, summertime? God, I hope not.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
it was so hot, dude. You have like, let me just tell you. So what they do on sets is they have these AC units, and then they have these big like tubes that come out of them, and then they just point the tube wherever they want it to go. And so they just funneled the tube right into the opening of the airplane, and like it's just blowing on us, and we're all standing there like, oh my God, this is amazing,
Oh man, yeah, that's wild. That's wild.
Yeah, that's great.
I guess it's cheaper than building a fake airplane, I guess.
It is. Yeah.
Looking through like some of your work, you have worked alongside some, I mean, heavyweights in the industry. Just to name a few: Justin Long, Matthew Broderick, Harvey Keitel, Nicolas Cage, Emily Blunt, John Bernthal, Adam Sandler. I mean, like I can't even put into words, like, what is that like, just being in the radius while they're doing their craft, right? While they're in character, while they're acting, and you get to just like, I don't know, I'd be the worst background actor, because I'd just be like, Like just staring at them work.
Oh my
What is that
gosh,
like
let
for
me
you?
just tell you. Oh, it's epic. It depends on the actor too,
Sure.
right? When I met Adam Sandler, I was like, because I've been watching him since I was 10 years old.
Mm.
Like, how are you not blown the fish away by Adam Sandler? And then, oh man, and then I really enjoyed John Bernthal. He was really friendly and kind to me, and very just welcoming as a human being. The time that I worked with Harvey Keitel, it was really early in my career. I had no idea what I was doing, and I remember the casting director, Kathy Brink, amazing woman. She said to me, just watch what's happening, watch him, and you'll be okay. Because I was like, oh my God, why did they cast me? I'm so confused. And they wanted me to improv with Harvey Keitel.
Mm.
I'm looking at this guy like, I don't know what improv is. I was so lost, man. And they cut out all the scenes because it was shit. But at the same time, if they gave me that chance now, bring it on, Now, the most exciting thing I think though was when I met Nicolas Cage. Because, and I'll tell you why.
Please.
When I was a teenage girl, he was my favorite actor, and I'm not shitting you here. I'm not like, oh, he was my favorite actor. He was my favorite actor, and my best friend Lindsay knows about it. She's like, oh my God, we used to watch him all the time, and he was your favorite, and da-da-da. And I'm like, yeah, bitch, I know. I'm not calling her a bitch, but you know what I mean. And so when I got on set with him, I was just like, oh shit. And I didn't want to like talk to him or be like, oh man, and so his assistant comes over and I was like, do you think I could maybe get a picture with him? I don't know, and like, I knew how to do my job. Like I knew how to go on set and like be a professional actor at that point in my career, but offset when he's just like sitting there and I'm just like, oh my God, dude, that's Nicolas Cage. Okay. Don't look like that, Sarah. You're acting like a dumbass. And so, it was really exciting though.
I don't think anybody in the audience right now would blame you for acting that way. I grew up on his films as well,
Right?
Face Off and The Rock, and I mean, great work. So like, and I think in that one you played his wife, right? You played like a younger woman
did.
to his older guy wife. I mean, I'm curious because you're like, oh, I want a picture, but like, you're in the movie with him. You share scene. There's this thing called film that has you two together. But I guess that's different, right? That's as an actor, that's different than like, oh, here's a picture with me and my buddy, right?
You know what was funny too? When we took the picture, in the picture, he has the just the Nicolas Cage face. Like he's not smiling. He's doing the Nicolas Cage face. It's just like, this is amazing. And I'm playing pregnant. So I've got this like big old belly in the picture. And I'm just like, and he's got the Nick Cage face on.
Oh man, I could geek out with you over just the people that you've worked with. And I'm audience. I'm eventually going to get to your questions, but I'm having too much fun here. I apologize. I will get to your questions. I promise at some point. Let me ask you. I'll put you on the spot here. I'm going to challenge you. What is the biggest misconception of your profession, of being an actress?
Oh, I think it's that when actors and actresses play bad guys, that they're actually bad guys. Have you seen that? Like a lot of folks that come out and they'll play these dark ass brutal characters. People are like, no, he's really an asshole, man. Like some of the nicest people I've ever met have been the people playing bad guys. And some of the most just not nice people have been playing the good guys.
Sure.
I mean, I think that's a big misconception.
That's a great point. I think of Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who plays Negan on The Walking Dead. I mean, everyone always says he's just the nicest, sweetest man, but he's a horrible person as an act, as a character. So no, that's I mean, excellent point. And I mean, I won't name names. But I mean, I think of people that played like Batman who've kind of lost their cool on set, and certain things. I mean, no, not naming names, but it is what it is.
I won't name names either, but I can say that on Ridiculous 6, there was one actor who I've always watched, not Adam Sandler, but somebody that I've watched for years and years and years that plays the coolest person. Not harsh.
I mean, that brings up a great, and we're professionals here. We're not going to name names, but I'm curious, as a professional, as someone who goes in to do the job, how do you react to that? How do you internalize that when you're like, oh man, I'm really excited to work with, and then you kind of get like the cold shoulder, or you don't get that, I don't know, professional courtesy, like, oh, I'm too hot for this, you know. How do
Yeah.
you take that?
I remember what it must be, not personally, but I can empathize with what it must be like to be in that position. Because, okay, sometimes I have random folks and I appreciate it. I really appreciate the fans and I appreciate the attention. But at the same time, sometimes people get really personal and super like in your face. And I'm not famous like these people are. Like, I'm not famous like Nick Cage is. I'm not famous like Jeff Bridges. And these people, they can't even go to the grocery store without people like, oh my God, can I get an autograph and this and the other? And they're like, holy shit, man, I'm just trying to use the restroom. You know, that's an intense amount of attention. That's an intense amount of fame. And so usually what I do is I'm like, hey, you know what? It's not about you. They are dealing with their own set of things. And
Yeah.
that's.
Yeah, I mean, and it's true. And you never know. You catch people on a bad day. I mean, like you said, I get it. You see, you tune into like a TMZ and it's like, oh, this guy's coming out of bathroom screaming. I'm like, yeah, somebody probably tried to take a picture of him when he was in there. I'd be in a bad mood too. But then, when you get the repeat offenders and the people are like, well, we're in private. There's no reason for you to be a dick right now. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, whatever. We'll move on to nicer things. You're too nice for that. Won't slander anybody today.
Thanks.
From an acting standpoint, what can you describe me what's the toughest role that you've played so far and what made it so challenging for you?
I played a role in the TV show Them Covenant, and I played a wildly racist woman. And that was a little tough for me because in the show, I'm not sure who's seen it and who hasn't. It's on Amazon Prime, and it's a great show. But there are a lot of acts of blatant racism, both passive and active, physical and verbal. And it was a little tough for me. I understand. Ooh, this is a hard combo. I don't want to get too far into this because I know this is a super delicate thing. It's super delicate, but I will say it's tough to play a character that's full of a lot of hate. I'll say that.
No, I mean it's especially in the time we're living in. I've asked a few people this. So I had like Colin Mockery, whose line is it anyway? Who's an improviser, and like in a today we live in a situation where everybody has to have a social media presence, actors included. You have to put your face out there. You have to do nobody shows like this. I get it. It's part of the game. That's what we do. But when we do seem to be in a situation where everybody's so on edge and everybody's so quick to pull that card, that trigger that says, "Oh, you're canceled." How do you personally balance the celebrity, the acting, the towing the line? Because I don't want to be out of a job, right? Because if I say the wrong thing, but still being active in social media, how do you balance all that?
I have to be really clear about what image I want to put out there, and I mean, I think also it comes down to communication. Thank God I have a degree in communication because I don't know how else to talk about all this shenanigans. It's very tricky. And so I think you have to learn to do that fine line between being politically correct and being true to yourself and standing up for what you believe in. So I don't know if I have a very concrete answer for you on that, except that, yes, it is a challenge. Yes, it's an interesting balancing act, trying to make sure that I'm not screwing myself by saying random shit. So, if I do these interviews, I have to really think about, all right, Sarah, what are you saying and what are the implications of this?
Right. And sometimes it's you do say something innocent. And that was something me and Colin talked about, is like, you might say something that in your mind is completely innocent. And it's just either misconstrued or somebody's going to take that and spin it their own way. So I don't envy your position is what I'm trying to get across. Given that we're now on the tail end of, the pandemic to end all pandemics, how did you stay sane during this time? Because I can only imagine, as a working actress and a person in the industry, like, it's always like, okay, what's the next job? Or what's my line? What's the script? What's this? What's that? So when everything was shut down, how'd you kind of stay sane?
I started training with Leslie Kahn. And I met four incredible other actors. Rian Sheehy Kelly, Joel Hebner, Shanae Moore, and Alex O'Shea. And I met these people and started working with them every day. And it kept me sane, because when you don't have projects coming up, it's a little rough. It can get kind of sad and draining. And so finding a group of people that you really click with and that you can just pull random side scenes, films out and just play with them and work on them, I think is really cathartic. And then on top of that, I did a lot of sewing.
Yeah, because I've seen you on Instagram every day, like you say, I'm actress, seamstress, outdoor person.
Yeah.
That's such a random thing. Where did that come from?
I know. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I just like it's in my family. My grandmother, Carolyn, was a seamstress. And so from an early age, I was like, I want to make costumes. I want to make Renaissance dresses. What? I guess it comes from those epic films, right? So I said, I want to make Renaissance dresses. And she was like, okay, whatever. And so she started teaching me to do that. And I didn't get to spend a lot of time with her before she passed. But the time that I did get to spend, she taught me a lot. And so ever since then, I've been a sewing enthusiast, you could say.
Yeah. And Jim in the chats, he says, I hope she knows she can say anything she wants here. So I think that's it. Back to the conversation of like, well, you say the wrong thing, people are going to get upset. Like, there you go. From the audience themselves, you can say whatever you want here. Nobody judges.
Thanks, Jim. I love you for that, man. I really appreciate you supporting me, because it's hard.
Hey, it's not easy. Kaz says Sarah has. People are checking you out because Sarah has 6 films in post production. Wow. So care to comment, Kaz? He's checking you out.
Well, thank you, Kaz. I really appreciate you looking. I actually have a couple other ones too that aren't up there yet. So I'm really excited, and I'm so glad that you're checking it out. And I can't wait till October, because Intrusion is going to come out on Netflix. And I know you can't tell I'm excited about that at all, but I am. I'm really excited. And then I can't wait until a couple of these have been in post-production for like a couple of years now. And I think the pandemic really put on hold the post-production process. And so I'm just like, come on, let's get these out. Because I want to see what it's like. I want to see what it looks like, how it came out.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna go back a step here, because we were kind of talking about the pandemic and staying sane. And it triggered a thought, a recurring theme or topic we'll talk about here and touch on here is mental health. I'm a big proponent of it. I'm a guy who I was injured in combat and I suffer from PTSD, and we don't talk enough about mental health and how important it is, men, women, regardless. So I'm curious, the entertainment industry as a whole, it's full of stress. It's full of pressure. I mean, any way you slice it, right? Whether it's the auditioning process, whether it's memorizing the lines or impressing the press, whatever it is, there's lots of it. How do you handle that pressure? How does that? I don't know. You would know better than I would, but how do you handle that?
I have a really great therapist. I do. I mean, I'm laughing, but I do. I have a great therapist who I see on a regular basis. And I think something to point out about actors is we're typically people that are seeking approval. I know, don't come for me, okay? I know there's a lot of actors out there that are like, I'm not seeking approval. I'm seeking approval, okay? I don't know about y'all, but I'm over here seeking approval. And so I think a lot of us are. And I think you have to walk into therapy or into some sort of support group and figure out what it is that drives you and figure out what it is that makes you tick. And I think too, you have to get to a point in your life where you can ask for help. Yeah. And I think that a lot of folks are stuck in a pattern where they feel like, oh God, nobody wants to hear what I have to talk about. I know this, and they feel like it's ridiculous what's going through their head. And they feel like I'm alone, and they feel like I'm in pain and I don't know what to do about it. And I don't want people to be worried about me, and I don't want people to be angry. And so they have a hard time reaching out. And I think once you can learn to reach out and discuss what's paining you, which is something that I'm learning to do, that I've learned to do, I think you can make a lot of growth and improvement. And I lean heavily on my therapist and my friends. And, I talk to my parents too. And I'm fortunate and blessed in that way. I understand that some people don't have parents that they can talk to, but that's where the friends and the spouses and the therapists come in.
Yeah, I couldn't. I mean, that's an excellent answer. I think there shouldn't be a stigma for having a therapist or seeking help. I mean, we go to the gym to keep our bodies in shape. It makes sense to go to someone who can help keep your mind in shape, right? Like exercise that muscle in your head and be in a good place. I think that's so important. I thank you for opening up and sharing about that, because I do as well. So
of course.
With that and with that pressure and with what comes with it, how do you react? I'm always curious, like, it happens to everybody, right? The negative press, the negative review, you put your heart and soul into this performance and you feel like you knocked it out of the park, and then some asshole in some tabloid or online blog is like, well, that was garbage. Like, do you see that stuff? Do you allow yourself to? How are you affected by it?
I don't pay a ton of attention to it, because here's what's going to happen. It doesn't matter what you do. Somebody's going to hate it and somebody's going to love it. And that's that. So whatever. Somebody's going to hate it. Okay. I'm sorry that you hate it for your sake. I hope you find something that you love, but it is what it is. There's not much I can do about it,
I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more with you.
I can't control it, so why try?
Jim, again, man, Jim is really coming to your defense today. He says, you seem to be happy doing this podcast. You seem like an awesome person. So if it helps, thanks. I think we all approve of you. So.
Oh, thanks, Jim. Jim's like my new homie, okay? Yeah. I don't know who Jim is. Jim's like, I actually know you, dude. Like, we're decent friends. How do you not know it's me?
You don't recognize me, Jim? So, okay, switching gears to a lighter subject. What do you enjoy working on more? Is it the feature films? Is it the TV stuff? If you had to choose one, you're the authority deems you can only have one. Where are you going?
You want to know what my dream is?
Right.
Because my dream is to be a series regular on a television show, on probably like a studio television show, like an HBO type of thing, or Amazon or Apple TV type of thing. That is my dream, and I will do it. I just want y'all to know, keep your eyes out, because it's going to happen soon.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be a series regular on a studio show.
For sure.
Series.
Obviously.
Soon.
Obviously.
But to answer your question a little more thoroughly, I have had some of the most fun, yes, on television shows, but some of the most fun on indie features. So for instance, that one that I did with Justin Long called The Wave.
Right.
So much fun, man. That was so much fun. It was epic. I mean, I actually got to like hang out, and be an actor. It wasn't just like a one-line thing. Like, I was a supporting character. I had an arc. I had an opinion, and it was really enjoyable, really incredible. And then I also really enjoyed working on something that's coming out that I got to improv with BJ Novak, man.
Oh, wow.
Like, I got to like actually improv with him. They let me talk, and that was incredible. Another indie feature. I think it's Vengeance, unless they renamed it. But that was, again, one of the most fun experiences I've had. When you get to work as an actor and they let you do your thing, it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing.
You get to really sink your teeth into it, right? The character, yeah. and breathe it life, from whatever it is you're pulling from your own experiences or people or whatever. But I think that's awesome. Speaking of, and I'm sure Jim's out there like already starting the petition to get you on, I don't know, Westworld or something. But we're all in line to sign the petition to make sure you get exactly what you want. Man, time's flying already. We got like 15 more minutes. We're trying to plug away at these questions as they come in. So we said features of work. What is your strength as an actor? What makes you what do you think makes you stand out from the typical actor actress?
Okay, I think it's changed. So I think it might have been different about a year ago than what it is now, because I've been told lately that I'm fairly organic. And what they mean by that, because you're like, you're organic. What are you, a fruit?
Hmm.
No, like what I mean by that is that like when you can be natural, like you're just having a conversation with someone. I've been told lately that's the thing that I've been able to do well. If I look back at some of my old work, I'm like, that doesn't look organic to me, man. But again, things change as you go. So to be natural, I think that's my strength. I also think that I listen well. I think that I listen well and take direction well.
Nice. Yeah, I can understand the organic, meaning like you don't look like you're acting. You look like you're just there in the moment. You're present. So that's awesome. That's very cool. Let's see. We're getting more questions. Like I can't keep up. I'm trying here. What actor or actress made you starstruck meeting them?
Ooh, Nicolas Cage, for sure. I was like, whoa. Also, Adam Sandler, whoa, because I grew up watching them. You know, when you've watched someone since you were a preteen, it's shocking when you finally get to meet them because, I mean, we don't see them. There's this interesting phenomena that happens in our brains as humans where we see these people that are stars and we don't quite connect them with reality.
Right.
And so then we meet them in person and all of a sudden they are reality and they're flesh and blood. It's like, whoa, it's a little shocking.
Yeah. No, I mean, that makes perfect sense. They're these people you put on a pedestal. They're these almost these godlike, figures from the clouds, and then you bump into them, and you're like, oh my God, you're a person.
Yeah.
So let's say another comment here. Other actress. I'm not going to name names, but an actress has spoken publicly of, and I quote, "D-bag, stalky fans and fans that are inappropriate." How do you deal with that? Have you had that been exposed to that? I guess they mean
I
D-bag
typically
stalkers.
just ignore. I ignore it. I ignore it. I mean, if I get people that send me super inappropriate stuff on social media, I just block it and move on. Because again, I can't control it. So what am I going to do about it? I'm not going to spend a lot of mental energy on it. And so I focus my mental energy elsewhere, like actually trying to improve my art.
Huh? Okay. If there are people out there and they would watch only one thing you've ever done, what's the one thing they should watch?
Oh, that's brutal, man. I don't know. Okay, let's see. What's the one thing they should watch?
Gotta sell yourself. That one, man, you blew it away. That's the one
Wave.
performance.
They should watch them. That's out right now. They should watch The Wave. That's coming out. You should watch Vengeance.
There you go.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep that one going. I'm gonna make sure that when Vengeance comes out, we have everybody watch it. So catch you doing your thing.
Thank you.
Okay, so when you have the ability to really dive in on a character and we're not talking about the one line or the background, whatever, but when you get that character that you can really make your own, what's kind of how do you approach that role? How do you make that character yours?
Sure. I do a lot of script analysis. I work it with my team over and over and over and over again. And then I get on set and I drop all of that prep and I live in the moment.
Huh.
I know that sounds pretty simplified, but I think I have this thing that I say sometimes, trust the prep. I don't know where I got that. I'm sure I got it from somebody. I just don't know who I got it from. So help me out here. Trust the prep. So I do a shit ton of prep and then I let go of the prep and I just be in the moment. That's that.
Hey, that's your process. If it works for you, that's all that matters. We're just trying to glean some of that knowledge from you. We're trying to absorb it.
Now I will say this though. Hold on. I have a little bit more answer to that. I just came up with. Okay, so I recently did a role. Okay, and it's called the film is called The Misanthrope. Okay, and for this role, I had to learn a dance, and I can't give too much information because of NDA. But this is an Andy Kostelik film, and he's a very passionate filmmaker. And when he offered this role to me, I was like, ooh, this is really tough, and it's kind of morbid and kind of brutal. And then there's this dance, and I'm not really a dancer, but when I do something, I do the shit out of it. And so I went and hired a professional dance teacher. I went and decided I was going to spend $500 on ballet point shoes. And I was like, I'm going to do this until people are just blown away. And I spent so much money just getting ready to do this dance. And then I went on set that day and I knocked it out of the park, and everybody was like, what the fuck? Like, cause I'm not a dancer, I didn't grow up dancing, but if you give me a challenge, I'll often rise to the occasion. And so in that way, there's another side of prep.
Very nice. I like it. It was a great answer. Outstanding answer. Thanks. Your friend Jim is back. He says, if she only had one thing to watch forever, what would it be?
Can I put a network on there?
I guess a thing.
One show. Oh, mercy. That's brutal, man. I would watch. Probably Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Excellent answer. Excellent.
I watch it like 5 or 10 times a year because it just kills me every time.
Apparently, Kaz says Jim must be Sarah's manager. So I don't know if he's petitioning for the job or what. All right. Scott says, are you planning to do anything beyond acting, possibly directing, anything like that in the future?
So my friends would say that considering my highly controlling personality, that I would do directing quite well. But I mean, I've never had the chance, and I'm just so much an actor that I think I'll stick with acting for the time being, at least. Down the line, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, who knows? But for now, it's going to be acting. Awesome. We got a few more minutes. I'm going to try to pump through these questions as fast as I can. Everybody's so excited, man. They're so excited to have you on. There's so many questions coming in. Is there, this is from Jake, is there a vintage or throwback movie or series that you think needs to be rebooted? Everything's getting rebooted right now. What do you think? A throwback or a vintage that needs to be rebooted? Oh, and this is from Jake? This is from Jake. Jake is trying to put me on the spot here, Jake. They give me the hard stuff. Oh, I'd love to see, I think another Braveheart would be interesting. I don't know if that's considered vintage. That's kind of the 90s. So is that vintage now? 30 years, I think that's. But then at the same time, it was done so well. Why would you change something that was done so well? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I that's a really hard answer, my friend. I would have to. I think I'd have to sit and think about that for about 5 weeks. Okay. Well, you get back to us. We'll post your answer. I'll let you know. I'll come up with something. I'll post it on like Twitter or something. Yeah. We're getting the woodworks out on the random questions. I'm going to try to keep it on topic here, people. Come on. Do like Coke or Pepsi, soda or pop. Come on, guys. Come on. This is a professional actress. All right. Let's give her some good stuff. Soda. Soda. I didn't grow up using pop, but yeah, soda. There you go. Soda. There's your answer. I read somewhere that you've always been interested in things that aren't understood. So like UFOs, aliens, things like that. Does that still hold true? So you want to hear something funny? So I was watching Ancient Aliens for a few years, and I was just like, this is amazing, and I would watch it every once in a while. And then I was buying these books about conspiracy theories, and I was just like, what's happening here? And then around 2017, I watched this one episode of Ancient Aliens, and it scared the shit out of me. And it just stopped. I was like, no, I'm good now. Thanks. That was nice. That was really exciting and interesting. I'm good. I've had my fill. Okay, fair enough. Physics fascinates me, though. Okay, I like it. Yeah. I listen to audiobooks about physics sometime because I'm that weirdo, and I don't think people that are listening to physics are weirdos. You know what I mean? And so, that kind of thing really fascinates me. The way things work. Sure. Absolutely. Now we opened another Pandora's box. Scott wants to know, what's your favorite conspiracy theory? Oh gosh, aliens. I'm not considered a conspiracy theory. I mean, you could say, well, that they exist, that the government knows about it, that they're hiding the information. Yeah. There you go. Conspiracy theory. Dun, dun, dun.
Exactly. I mean, you're in New Mexico. You're out there. You know, isn't that where they always kidnap people?
My favorite though was like the Nazca Lines theories.
Hmm. Okay.
We're gonna get really, really interesting and deep here. Like that was the whole, the guy from Ancient Aliens
Hmm.
that's like, if so, he's just great, man. He cracks me up.
Hey, I think you're exciting a lot of people in the audience. I don't know. These guys are loving this stuff. Let's see. Best, what's the best piece of advice you've gotten about the industry? Could be anything from auditioning to the actual acting process to anything.
Have something else. That's the best advice I've ever gotten. Have something else. That doesn't mean like don't be an actor, but have something else that you can put your passion into that really excites you and makes you happy and makes you express that creative side. Because if you don't have it, acting can be such a letdown. It can be so draining that it can take a lot out of you. So if you don't have something else you can turn to, I've seen people really go downhill really fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's really good. That's the same kind of advice you hear like professional athletes. They'll tell the younger guys like, hey, like this is great for when you can do it, but have the backup plan, have that thing that when you can't do this anymore, like you don't fall to pieces. So that's awesome advice. Yeah. Okay, I got a tough one for you. Ready? This is the tough one of the night.
Get on.
What? I'm trying to think. Was it? Hang on, I lost it. Okay, here it is.
There.
What area would you like to improve as an actor? So judging yourself, where is that? What do you want to improve in? How do you want to raise it to the next level?
I would like to learn to image better. So let me explain what that means. I would like to be able to image what I'm talking about in the scene in my mind better. Because when you can image things in your mind, people see it in your eyes. And I'd like to learn to really integrate that into my work on a higher level.
Wow. That was right. I mean, I thought I would give you a head scratcher there, man. You nailed that one. Okay, making me look bad here.
No, Jake's question was the ass kicker. Okay,
there you go. Jake wins the prize. He gets the prize.
Yeah, Jake wins.
Man, let's see. If I'm trying to find a good one here for you. Okay, well, since we're getting close to time, what is next for you? What can people keep an eye out for you, and where can people follow and support you?
Oh, well, the best way to keep an eye on what I'm up to is either on Instagram, sarah.minnich, or on IMDb. And you can find me on imdb.com/Sarah Minnich. Oh, sorry. imdb.me/Sarah Minnich, or just go to IMDb and search Sarah Minnich, I guess. I don't know. And I'm not very good at this computer thing. Sorry. People can keep up with me that way. What I have coming out, I have a Netflix feature coming out. We've talked about that. It's called Intrusion. So really quick, very quick. I know we don't have a lot of
please.
time, but I
take all the time. This is your time. You take it.
I just was about to do a film with Jesse Eisenberg, and he cast me, and he is like the nicest person ever, by the way. And it's called When You Finish Saving the World. And this is actually kind of a sad story. I was about to go on set. 3 days before I got on set, I got COVID. And this was back in February. And so I lost the role. And it was this huge, amazing role. And he wrote it bigger for me. And like we were Zoom rehearsing and everything. And this was like the most starstruck moment of my career. Not starstruck, but like honored. He was like, "You're really good." And I was like, "What? You're Jesse Eisenberg." And like, I wish I had recorded it. And one of my dear friends, Alex O'Shea, she was like, "Listen to me. I need you to record all the Zooms that you would do with Jesse Eisenberg because you never know what's going to happen." I didn't record it because I was like, NDAs and I don't want to piss anybody off. I should have recorded it because he was like, "You're actually good." And I was like, "Holy shit, dude." Anyway, so I was going to tell you all, I mean, that's not a film I have coming out because I lost the role. But freaking COVID. But at the same, I mean, and I'm lucky. A lot of people lost a lot more than a
Sure,
role. So,
of course.
you know, please don't come for me. But the point being is that I have a few things coming out. The Vengeance one with BJ Novak is going to come out. I don't know when. I think they're still in post-production. I just did a film with director Charles Murray, called Brother's Keeper. I think it's also called, they may change the name to The Devil You Know. And that's going to come out. Apparently, like, thriller things are kind of a niche that I'm sort of getting into, which is really exciting.
Okay.
I just auditioned for a film that I think I might get. So keep your eyes out on Instagram and I shall let you all know if I do. And then let's see, everything else is on IMDb. And I think a gentleman, it might have been Jim, said that I had like 6 things up there.
Yeah.
And so again, some of them have been in post for a couple of years. So I can't tell you when they're going to come out, but, keep your eyes open, check out Netflix and watch those studios because I'm coming for them and I'm going to be a series regular on one of those TV shows soon, my friends.
You have literally, I just keep seeing the chat fly. Like these guys are basically, I was going to say propositioning. That is the wrong word. They're petitioning for like roles for you. I think it's something to do with Star Wars. I think they're calling out what you would be perfect for. A Mandalorian queen involved with the Jedi.
Nice.
Sorry, something Indiana Jones. I don't know. Like these guys are.
Okay, hold the door though. Do these guys like know who my dad is or something? Because I grew up with a dad who literally references Star Wars whenever he talks about spirituality. Like he talks about the Force and mitochondrial connection. I mean, I grew up with the most Star Wars family. Oh my goodness, dude. Like, let me just tell you. And then Indiana Jones, my nephew is named after Indiana Jones. So I don't know who you all are, but apparently you know my family.
We're connected. We're all one with the Force. Okay. Okay. Bonus question before we let you go.
Okay. Go ahead.
If you know, speaking of the pop culture world, so we're talking Marvel, DC, Star Wars. What would be like the dream role? Would you love to do like a superhero thing? Would you love to do like a Jedi thing? Like, what would be a fun role for you to play?
I want to do post-apocalyptic warrior badass chick.
Okay.
There it is.
Jim, I'm gonna need you to get the petition started. We're all gonna fall in line and get you that role. Everybody, please give it up for my guest, Sarah. This has been so much fun. You are an absolute joy and delight. Welcome back anytime. Anytime you want to geek out or talk about roles or the process, we'd love to have you back anytime you'd like. I'll give you a second to say goodbye to the audience, and then we'll toss it to break.
Thank you so much, everybody, to Jim and Kaz and Jake and all the other wonderful people that were on there asking questions. I don't know all of your names because he didn't tell me. Otherwise, I would remember them. But it's been such a pleasure chatting. And thanks for being fans and for watching and supporting me. And I couldn't do it without all of you. So literally, that's how it works.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Awesome. We're going to keep a close eye on your career. We're going to root for you. Guys, this has been Sarah Minnich. Go check her out, and we'll be back right after this short break. Shuts.